Hey, Julie.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm terrific. Hey, listen, I came tonight because I have a question about an approval. I have the map with me, and I just had a couple questions for the commission about this. Do you think they would entertain just a quick question? I'm trying to find out if I need to apply for a new permit because we have a client that's going to use the property slightly differently than what was approved, but it's
How
less
old?
intensively.
Okay, how old is the permit? And did
Well,
it ex
the permit is, it looks like it's 2014 or 2015. The property is that property the Chippewa Bible Church was going to do on Baker Road.
Uh-huh.
They've decided to sell the property. I guess Zoom wasn't, it was not Zoom, I'm sorry, but my
Oh,
understanding is that,
yeah, I thought they were in aren't they in Southbury now?
yeah, it could be. I think they are. I think they decided to do something differently. And so I have a client that's interested in buying this piece. But what he wants to do is basically build a house where they were building the parsonage, use the stream crossing, and then build a garage and a greenhouse on the bottom end.
Um, it we would have to take a look at the permit. I mean, they won't do anything without the file, and I don't have the file on me.
No, I know
So,
you don't have the file on you.
yeah.
So I just found out about this like yesterday, and it was just a happy coincidence you guys were meeting tonight.
Did you happen to did you reach out? So you didn't reach out to Russ?
I didn't reach out to Russ because, like I say, I just got into this and I just got these maps today.
Okay.
And I was going to reach out to him, and then I saw you were meeting, and so I figured, well, 2 hours ago, I might as well wait for the meeting and see what they want from us.
Well, there's a there's a big agenda tonight. We already have permission to add something else on. So that's what we're looking at right now.
Well, I guess I'll be
So
watching the meeting for a while.
I know. Yeah. So actually I'm gonna pop out for a minute because I have to send a copy of the agenda out. So I will be
Maybe
back.
Russ would prefer I'd call him tomorrow or something. So
Um I Russ is always open to phone calls, but I'll be
okay,
Hello,
back.
Greg.
I'm
I'll
gonna
let you.
pop out.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hey,
Greg.
how are you?
Good. Rob.
Hey, Rob. Yeah, I can see. You're tiny on my screen, but I can see you.
Okay.
But yeah, I was popping in because I had a question about a thing you approved back in 2014 for the Chippewa Bible Church.
Oh, I remember that application.
Yeah, you approved a parsonage, a wetlands crossing, and or not a wetlands. I guess there's an intermediate stream crossing, and a church with a huge parking lot um, down below. And I have somebody that's interested in basically building a house where the parsonage is, using the stream crossing, and then building a garage and a greenhouse on the bottom, sort of residential property rather than this. And so I was trying to figure out, do I gotta have to come back in and apply again? Because whatever we do, we're obviously putting all the leaders to ground. And we're not building a house bigger than the parsonage, so I'm assuming the septic system is proper for that. And we're building a garage and greenhouse that's a lot smaller and less intense than the church they proposed. So I'm wondering, can we use this permit or do we need to get a different permit for a residence? I used to know the answer to that, but I've been off the commission so long, I don't know the answer anymore.
Greg, do you remember how long ago that was? I remember the
Um,
application.
2014.
I've got the plans from 2014, and I think I saw an early 2015 zoning special permit granted for it. So I'm thinking this occurred at the end of 14 or early 15. I don't have the wetlands permit. I
Okay.
need to pick that up.
Yeah, I'd say talk to Russ.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, when he gets here, I'll find out whether or not he's got some time for me tomorrow or something, because I need to sort of get a sense of this so I can figure out what to put in the contract. If we need a permit, then I need a contingency.
Right.
But I'm thinking that you would be well disposed toward an application that makes a less intensive use of the property and eliminates that big parking lot.
Yeah, we tend to like those, right, Rob?
I remember the application. I don't remember how intense it was.
Well, what the property is, it's half of the property is what's must be an old field, farmer's field or something, because it's flat on Baker Road. And then it goes, then you have an intermittent stream and a wetlands, and then you go up the hill.
No, I recall that. I
yeah.
think there's a cross.
There's a
on the
crossing.
property.
Yeah, it's a crossing of the intermittent stream in the wetlands, and it's at pretty much the narrowest point of the wetlands.
No, but what I was getting at is there's a cross on the property right at the stream crossing, isn't there?
Oh,
I
is
think
there? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, out of like cedar post.
Oh,
It's tall. It's tall. It's probably 20 feet tall.
wow.
Yeah.
Gee, I hope my client's a Christian.
All right, guys, we gotta start a meeting, no?
Hey, Russ.
Who
Hey, Russ.
invited Mr. Carver?
Hey, Russ, I came to barge in and ask a question about a 2014 permit for the Chippewa Valley Bible Church, because I have a client that's interested in buying it for residential purposes and doing pretty much what's there, except not a big church and parking lot. But when do you have time you can talk to me? Because it looks like the consensus is I should talk to you. Probably not now, but
Not now, because we got a long meeting.
you got a
so-
long meeting. Yeah, I realize. I just saw the agenda is ridiculous. So, do you have any time tomorrow for me?
Sure. I'm
All
around.
I will call you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
See you, Greg.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the Roxbury Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission for March 26, 2024. I'll start with a call to order. Sierra, you want to begin?
Sierra Gorglione,
Rob Horrigan.
John Smoliga.
Kathy Roz,
Chris Haggerty.
My phone's going wild.
And Melanie is not coming tonight. And
Okay, so we have me, Rob, John, Sue's not here, and Sierra, so I need to seat somebody for Sue. But on the larger applications, if they go to public hearing, whoever gets seated has to be at the public hearings or read all the tapes and listen to all the tapes. So Kathy, if it's you, then I don't know if that presents a problem because of your workload, because of your job, and you have to leave at 7:30.
yeah, Russ, I'm able to stay till 8:30.
Okay. So we'll put you on now, and I guess if you decide to be on all these applications, you're gonna have to do some homework and watch all the meetings or public hearings that you miss.
Yeah, that's fine. I've been following the last few meetings where I've had to leave early with the recording, so that works.
Okay, okay. So approval of the minutes from the regular meeting from February 27, 2024. Any comments on those minutes?
Julie, could you pull them up?
yes,
Just some public present. There's a Tom Horrigan. And I don't have a brother or cousin that's a Tom Horrigan on the public present.
oh, that's weird. I wonder how that got in there.
He's
Well,
got
no,
a
actually, I
photo
think
top.
there was a Tom Horrigan
Really?
who attended. Yes, 'cause I have to go back and double check my notes because I thought
Okay.
that was, yeah. So there may have been,
Well, give
Who
him my
could have
number
been?
so we can connect.
but I will go back and double check. If you guys want to do amended and then just as a conditional, and if it's a mistake, I will go back and amend it after I check it.
Okay. Other than that, do I have approval of the minutes?
So moved.
approval.
Second,
got
second Sierra,
Sure. I'll take second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay. I will see Kathy for Sue. I don't know if I did that officially.
Yes, yes, you
No.
did.
Okay. New business. Videye We LLC, 65 Minor Bridge Road, construction of a single-family 8-bedroom home with sanitary system, well, grading, driveway, and other stuff. We have report on site walk. I thought we did that before the last meeting, but okay. Julie, where are we on this application?
Well,
Second.
Paul's, well, you have until the 29th to make a decision, but Paul submitted a extension today.
All right, so we have a 20 till so we're close to 65 days, right?
Yes, 65 days will be Saturday.
Okay, good to know that. Okay, just so the commission knows, I hired an engineer and an environmental consultant for this project. I asked them for prices and gave them everything we had. The engineer is Steve Trinkus and the consultant is Michael Klein. Both of them said that the application was so incomplete that they cannot provide a cost. The engineer, Steve Trinkus, sent a letter stating the things that were missing in the application. Do you have that letter, Julie?
Let me scoot
Yeah,
on
that's
over
that's
to
a
there.
hard one, huh?
I can get over there. Let me just pop around. That is from Steve Trinkus.
Okay. So he's on Minor Bridge, right?
Yes, this is the minor bridge.
Right. Paul Szymanski is the engineer of record for this. Paul, have you responded to all these? Is there a second page, Julie?
Here's the second page.
Paul, have you responded to this?
Hey, good evening. For the record, Paul Szymanski. If I may just get you guys up to speed where I am with respect to last month's meeting. So at last month's meeting, the commission had requested that we retain an environmental consultant to look at the ecology and potential impacts of the site as it relates to the resources on the down gradient side, that being the Chappaqua River, also known as Lake Willenona in that area. So as part of that, we retained Steve Danzer, who is our environmental consultant. So as part of that, he finished his field work associated with it and is finishing his report. So yes, we have addressed these issues, but Mr. Danzer had asked for some additional modifications as it related to the drainage system, erosion control measures, and some construction sequencing. We received his preliminary comments yesterday after he concluded his field work. But as it relates to Mr. Trinkus's comments, I don't think he received a full set of plans because some of that stuff was in there. We did have a sedimentation erosion control plan. There were drainage calculations. I think he wants them done in a different way, which we're happy to do, and we have done. So what I was proposing to do is, now that I have Mr. Danzer's comments, we're incorporating his as well as Steve's comments into the plans so that we can get them to you in short order, anticipating that you're finding the potential for significant activity and there would be a public hearing. So this way, in advance of the next meeting, Mr. Trinkus and Mr. Klein has the ability to review not only the calculations that Mr. Trinkus requested, but also Mr. Klein can review Mr. Danzer's environmental report, so that once the public hearing opens, if the commission so considers, your consultants basically have the ability to talk intelligently from a public hearing perspective.
Could you state what things are in the plan already that you're claiming Steve didn't get? And Julie, did he get a full set of plans?
I sent him everything we have.
Okay.
There's an SES plan, sheet SES.1. That's number one. Number two, there's a septic plan, that's
But
SDS.
is there a narrative that complies with DEEP's guidelines?
Yeah, let me open the plans. Hold on one second. No, there's a narrative.
Okay.
It's in the. It's in the upper left-hand corner. It's the entire left side of the sheet. Number two,
Were there proposed sewage disposal, soil testing submitted with your plans?
yeah, that was sheet SDS.
Okay,
That also had the details associated with it. In the lower left-hand corner, it had the test pit results and the percolation test results. Number three, Steve asked for additional topography, which we've now collected. So what he was asking is in the area of the leaching system. The leaching system is located north of the proposed home. So it's approximately 170 feet from what's known as a Camp Brook, I believe it's called. So he had asked for some additional field topography in the upland review area, which we're not disturbing. So we conducted that, and that is complete.
okay.
Um,
The other ones we
com-
can skip because I don't
Yeah.
care about septics and.
Okay, comment 4 is the same as comment 2. That was on the septic plans.
Right.
Comment 5 was
Button
also
fill
addressed.
volumes?
Spencer's worked on that and we have completed that, so we're providing that with the revised plans.
Okay, number 8, is there a stormwater report?
Yes, so we had provided stormwater calculations as it related to the Coltech rechargers for the roof runoff, because as you know, your regulations state for roof runoff, you encourage the infiltration of that, which we did provide, as well as for the infiltration trenches. What Steve's
And
asking,
was there soil testing of those infiltration areas to prove it could take the water?
yes, and if we did not, that's one thing we may not have given that background testing. If we did not, we will provide that. I don't see that within here, but we will get
And
that to
what
you.
are the infiltrators, what storm event are they engineered for? That's
Hold on
not-
one second, Russ. Let me pull the accounts open. 100-year storm event. Yeah, we did it for a 100-year storm event. So we did it for 8.7 inches of rain falling in a 24-hour time period.
Okay, that's good. Next page. Is D in there?
D, I don't know off the top of my head if we did water quality volume calcs, but I know Spencer was working on the additional calcs, which is letter E and F as well.
Okay. And G, the pollutant load?
So that's what Steve Danzer's doing as part of his report. And then H, we have added to the SES plan. So now that we have Danzer's comments, we're incorporating those on the plan. So we'll have one revised set of plans that are presented.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Does anybody on the commission have any
Yeah,
questions?
yeah, I do, Russ. Paul, I had asked last time for a topo map with wetlands and water courses
Yeah,
for
absolutely
the
did,
entire
John.
lot,
And
so that we can take a
yeah,
look for alternative. Okay.
yeah, and we have completed that. We were having an issue because I did an aerial overlay on that, and the image is so large on this and the Tunnel Road application, it crashed. But just so you guys have some preliminary numbers on, we're going to find a way to make it work. So on the
Yeah,
Bida
okay.
there's 21.9 acres of regulated area, which is inclusive of both the 200-foot upland review area from the Chippewa and the 100-foot from the other wetlands resources and water courses. So there's 21.9 acres. We're proposing 0.882 acres of activity within the upland review area. So that's 3.7% of the upland review area that we're disturbing. As it relates to overall site disturbance, we have 151 acres. We're proposing 4.3 acres of disturbance, so about 2.85%. So we're getting that on a map, so you can see that graphically as well with an aerial overlay. so that you can see existed wooded areas versus meadow versus some lawn areas that exist.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Paul, I asked if you had a landscape plan.
Yeah, so that was one of Steve's specific comments as it related to the site walk. So along the water's edge, there's a bunch of multiflora rows. So he's requested that be
Excuse me, Paul,
incorporated.
one second. Julie, could you bring up the map? It'd be easier to follow what he's talking about.
Yes.
Thank you.
Does that one work or another one?
Yeah, that one's good.
Okay.
So at the bottom of the map where the contours end is the edge of the Chappaqua River / Lake Olenona. So what Steve found that's present is a large amount of multiflora rows between the existing lake and the proposed development area. So we're coming up with an invasives removal plan as it relates to that, along with the replacement with native shrubs. So we're looking at New England wetland plants up at Agawam, Mass. So we're proposing natives in that upland area to replace the invasives. And we also have a maintenance and monitoring plan as well that we'll be preparing. So it's not only the removal of the invasives initially, we also have a 3-year monitoring plan that we're proposing based on Steve's request.
Any other questions?
Yeah, can you just elaborate on what a 3-year monitoring plan means?
Yeah, great question, Kathy. So basically what we do is the invasives are initially removed, in this case, the multiflora rows. We then propose the native plantings. And then basically on a quarterly or tri-annually basis, we inspect the areas in which we removed the invasives. And basically if some invasives are starting to sprout up again, we remove them. We report that back to the town. And the intent is by doing this for 3 years, we get to a point where all of the invasive roots that may have been remained in the initial removal have subsequently been caught. And so that basically after that 3-year time period, all of the non-native invasive species have been replaced with native species. And so there's no ability for invasives to come back in that area because the natives have taken over to the fact that they're dense enough to prevent or at least decrease the potential of invasives coming back in. Now you still have birds that are flying, that are defecating, that may introduce seeds back in. But that's the intent, is to ensure the success of the native plantings.
And what methods do you use to remove the non-natives or the invasives?
Typically hand removal. So there's weed wrenches. These are not, so multiflora rows can get up to 15 to 20 feet in height. These are substantially less than that, on the order of 3 to 4 feet. So we can use what's called a weed wrench, where it loosens the root system to remove them.
Thank you.
Julie, could you zoom in on the house, just maybe 1 or 2? I can't read stuff near the river, and that's what I'm
Okay.
Yeah. If you could pull it up,
Yep, I'm just
interested.
gotta. There we go. You need more?
No, that's cool.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
Paul, just one thing. I know that we approved an application for like a dock and stuff down by the water.
Yeah, and a fire pit area, I think it was, maybe a kayak rack. I'm trying to remember, in a path. Yep.
You know, and I kind of forget what was approved.
Oh,
But
I'll email that to Julie if you want, so then you have that.
well, could it be put on this plan so we just kind of know?
Oh, yeah. So in the lower right-hand corner where the legend of the map is,
Yeah.
and
Bring it down, Julie, bring the house
Yep.
up. So,
yeah,
there.
so it's right, we're showing on that area, the path. You see that circle there, Rob? Yeah, right there.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. So that's the area, but I'll make sure it's all incorporated if there's anything missing.
Okay.
I don't think they ever put the dock in.
And if you don't mind emailing it to Julie, I was trying to find it, but if you have it there, that would be super helpful. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else? Okay, I got a bunch of questions. The dock was approved, was it approved by CLMP or Eversource?
I don't think we ever, I think they chose not to install it, so we never proceeded with First Light.
All right, because the problem's procedure, you're supposed to get approval from them first. So you're gonna need to get that approval for our permit to, because you're pretty much putting a dock on somebody else's land. And Brian Wood has told all the wetland commissions, do not approve anything. And I don't know how long ago this was, I don't even remember.
It was several years ago and we
Yeah.
might have, I don't remember. I know the dock's not installed and they have no interest at this point in installing the dock. They have their hands full
Right,
with their
but they're
current
gonna
project.
they're gonna need that approval. And if it was several years ago, then our approval is expired. If it's over 5.
Yeah, we're not proposing a dock as part of this application, just so everyone's aware. So if the
I
permit's
know, Paul,
expired, it's expired.
but I get to ask questions because I have to look at this as a long-term thing. And one of my questions is, what is the plan for along the river? I'm sure they're not gonna build a big house and not have a big something down there. And so what you're saying is right now, there's no plans to do anything on the river, right?
No, they made that little landing area, the circular landing area, that was previously permitted. They did that, and I think there's a kayak rack there.
Right.
And we do have a letter of filing consent. I just pulled it up back in 2019 from First Light.
Right,
So I
but
can submit that
you
for
gotta
them.
check with First Light, because if they did that without their permit, then they're in violation of First Light's regulations.
No. I'm saying we have a permit from First Light dated June 24th, 2019 for the activity
Okay, all right,
from the power company. I just pulled it up on the server.
all right. And then you have a stormwater outfall with a level spreader, which scares the hell out of me because I see it in the field and it's right on the hill. Well, why? Why, I mean, that's asking for trouble, isn't it? What would be the flow out of that in a 100-year storm?
There's two of them. There's one on the down gradient side of the
Well,
house
one of
and then
them's an
going to the
infiltrator,
right.
right?
So the infiltrators are the roof runoff at the rear of the house between the house and the lake. To the left of the house is infiltration trench for the driveway adjacent to the garage. And then to the right of the house on the plan, there's an infiltration trench for some of the driveway. But we can look at an alternative of fully infiltrating that.
Yeah,
It's a non-issue.
with these storms, Paul, those level stratas with little plunge pools, they just don't work anymore. Not
No,
on
that's fine.
the side, you know?
No, that's fine, Russ. We can look at fully infiltrating that. It's a non-issue. No worries. That's a prudent alternative.
So looking at this and doing the site walk, when I do the site walk, there's the land comes up where there used to be a railroad, right? I mean, you walk through that little area. So all that's gonna be leveled, right?
That's
Looking
correct.
at
Where the
these
railroad
times.
bed.
Right, so
Yep.
we're getting rid of a natural buffer that's there now. That buffer prevents any kind of stormwater from going directly into the lake. That's gonna be wiped out. I'm just stating that as an observation. In 2005, I believe, we approved a 21,000 square foot house. That's outside of the whole buffer area. Why can't that be done? Why? I mean, their view will not change. Their view will actually be better. It will provide a good buffer. I'm not so worried once the house is built. I'm worried during construction, because this is massive, massive construction. I mean, it's the same as a mini mall, for crying out loud. So why, when we've approved a house the same size or a little bigger with pools inside, pools outside, why wasn't that looked at as a feasible and prudent alternative? Because because I walked up to where that house was or proposed, and the view's even better.
Yeah, I know that area up top is all ledge, 1 to 2 feet down, on that flat escarpment that you're talking to, but I do know that the house is not approaching 21,000 square feet at all. I'll get you the exact square footages, but, you know, as part of the public hearing process, we will look at that as an alternative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any landscaping proposed for along the river? Are they gonna leave that natural, or are they gonna make it Central Park, as the saying goes in Roxbury?
They do not have an issue in, they do not have an interest in Central Park. That's one of the reasons they bought this property. So that's why we're proposing the native plantings, between the house and the lake, and they have no intention of that
Do
being
we have a
lawn.
copy of those plans?
We can provide something. One of the requests of Mr. Danzer was to look at those couple slopes at the rear of the house and look how we could terrace those to promote infiltration. And the discussion with the architect, based on his comments, was to look at terracing that with walls, fieldstone walls, so that then those could act as physical barriers as well. So we can provide that all for the record. That was one of Mr. Danzer's comments as well.
Okay, so all the roof drainage, if I'm right, is going to two places, one an infiltration on the hillside and one a proposed level spreader on the hillside. Am I correct?
Yeah, yep.
Rob, how much rain is that in a 100-year storm on a roof like that? Watch his brain. He's good at this.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, Rob.
You're muted, Rob.
Excuse me, 1 inch on a 20,000 square foot
1
roof.
inch, 8 inches.
I know, but it is 12,000 gallons, so 8 times 12, 96,000 gallons of water.
And it's going out two
That's
places.
that's a 20,000 square foot roof, which is
this is less
probably,
than half.
well, that's the roof area.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. The roof area here, inclusive of the portico share and everything, is under 10,000 square feet.
Okay, so half of that, so it'd be 48,000 gallons of water.
Maybe we could truck it up to Scott's house.
Working together for a better Roxbury.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? So I have to ask some questions. First of all, does the commission feel this application is complete enough to go to a public hearing? Well, I guess I should ask first. Does the commission feel this is a significant activity?
Yes.
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 There, are you there? Uh-oh. Okay,
I'm here. I agree.
yeah, okay.
Mm.
So we all feel this is a significant activity and therefore it should,
No.
it should go to a public hearing. Do we feel that the application is complete enough, or that we believe the engineer's statements that information our engineer looked at is really there and he needs to look better? Do we feel it's good enough to go forward to a public hearing?
I'm not so sure about that at this point, Russ.
I would agree. I would think that, you know, the elements, we got to clear up the elements that Paul is saying we have, that the engineer is saying, or the consultant is saying we don't have, or, you know, we haven't been provided. That's one, I think we're not ready for that. And two, the consideration for the alternative, I think it would be important to see that prior to going to the public hearing.
Julie, do you have that map? Because I know I had John pull it out and made sure with him, he'd make sure that you had it.
Well, which ones? The ones that Paul referred to?
Yeah, the Rondina map. The one that was
We do
approved,
have copies of that at the office, yes.
but you don't have it available to show right now.
Let me see.
It's okay if you don't. Paul
Nope, I
really needs to
should
take
have
a
it.
hard look at that.
So you guys do have those? Because I know last month you said you didn't think you had that file, but you guys have
We
it?
did, we found it.
Okay, cool.
Very detailed. It was done by Brian Neff. It, looking at the minutes, it went, you know, we scrutinized the heck out of it, but in the end, we did approve it.
Yep, I have them. Yeah, Jimmy was able to scan this to me like this afternoon. So here's one of them.
In a little, the one I looked at showed the 200-foot.
Okay, well, there are two of them. Hold on.
See if the other one's better. But Paul, you said that's not a 20,000 square foot house?
That we're proposing? No, not even close.
What are you proposing?
The total roof is under 10,000 square feet.
Well, what's the footprint?
Hold on one second, I'll pull it up.
No, it's the other map, Julie, I'm sorry.
That one?
Yeah, that one. Oh, I do see that. Yeah, okay. The whole thing's outside the 200 foot, not by much.
Where's the 200 foot? Is that red dash line there?
Yeah.
Can you guys zoom in? I can't see that. I'm sorry. So it looks like there's wetlands right on the left there. And there's wetlands right on the right.
Yeah, he shows the regulated setback as being 227 feet minimum of the house. See it coming from the river?
Yeah.
Right in the middle, yeah. So just so you know that exists, Paul, and it was approved.
Oh, so the south is to the left on this plan.
Yeah, you
Yes.
see the river down on the bottom.
Right. Yeah. I was misoriented. I see it now. Yeah, I'll stop in and get a copy of those.
Okay. So we've determined it's a significant activity. People were talking about how they felt a little uncomfortable that it's incomplete to go to a public hearing. Does anybody else feel that way?
Can we just confirm the other sheets are there? I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt.
It seems to me that there's a lot of stuff that's being worked on. And I just feel like that maybe everything should be completed and go to our consultant, and then we revisit the public hearing.
Well, my concern is we're at day 65, so we have to call a public hearing tonight and get the extension because you're supposed to have the public hearing within 65 days. If they give us an extension, I know this is complicated. Let me explain it because it's important that the commission understands. In a regular application, in the absence of a public hearing, you get 65 days, okay? You get 2 meetings, and second meeting, you gotta vote. And again, we're not like planning if we don't meet the deadline. There's no penalty for wetland commissions. It's not automatically approved. Pretty much the applicant's stuck with waiting no matter what it is, but we don't operate that way. In the presence of a public hearing, you have to hold the public hearing within 65 days. So your first meeting, you gotta decide whether it's a significant activity or not. And then and then the next meeting have a public hearing. We weren't able to do that because we didn't have enough information during the first meeting, especially the environmental consultant's report. Paul will tell you he didn't do that because it's not required by our regulations, which it is, it's in there. There's 2 pages of requirements that the commission normally doesn't nickel and dime people with, depending on the severity of the application. This is a very significant application. Therefore, I feel that that should have all been their first meeting for us, so we can make determinations, get contractors online, so engineers, and then get prices from them. Now, I'm not bound, and the town's not bound to providing Paul's client with a price. The town ordinance just says that if we have to hire consultants, if we decide to, that's borne by the applicant as part of the application fee, and we don't have to tell them how much. But we do, because it's only reasonable to get a price so that that applicant has an idea of what it'll cost them and know whether he could afford it or not. Now, I know in this case, I'm sure he can, but still, it's his and her hard-earned money, and I don't, we don't take it lightly. So our consultants, the 4 of them, all said they can't provide a price because the application is incomplete for them to do that. And the engineers did give me 2 letters, which Paul went through very good. Maybe they're not, I pressed them because I got this back to Paul within a week. And in this day and age, trying to get an engineer to do anything in a week is like trying to get a Taylor Swift concert ticket. It's not easy. So, I'm kind of in the middle whether we should move forward or whether it's better to ask the applicant to withdraw the application and get all this together so that I could get my consultants online. Because if we do move forward, Paul, then we're on day 90, number 3, where we only get 6, okay? And they don't feel they'll have enough time to really go through all this and go through 2 public hearings. So that's where as the chairman, I'm kind of concerned because I don't want to pressure our consultants who are like you, very busy, into rushing things, because this thing needs to be vetted. It needs to be vetted to the core. All applications need to be vetted, and we do vet them based on their severity. And this is very significant. So I would like to give our consultants the time that they need to vet this properly. Not to say that there's denial in my voice. There's not. I think it's great that your applicant wants to have a family compound. I'm all for it. I hope they invite half the town down. Sounds like a lot of fun. And if there's no impact, I don't care if they're 10 feet from the lake. That's our job. If there's no impact, there's no impact. It doesn't matter on the size of the house or how close the house is to the lake, or if it's in the buffer zone. Absolutely does not matter. But we need to vet it to make sure that not only there's no impact, but there's insurance in place for the storms we've been having. Because if this thing messes up, Paul, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal to the river, going to be a big deal to the lake, and it's going to be a big deal for the Wetland Commission. We cannot screw up on this. We cannot. We've hired the right people to vet it. They asked that they need more time. They were hoping you would respond by letter to their comments and show how you've met all their things. And that's not where they're done. That was just so they could get enough information to give me a price. So that's my concern.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, Russ. I respect that. That's the SES plan on the screen, which I know Steve said he didn't get. So I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to be confrontational. I respect you guys. I respect your comments. That's the sheet he says he didn't get. So I don't know what to say. I have no
No, it's
control
up to
over
the
that.
commission, really.
No, let me finish, Russ.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't want to listen. I'm a laid back guy. I don't want to create an issue, so I'm going to withdraw the application, and we'll get you all this information prior to the next meeting. You guys can accept the application and schedule the public hearing at the next meeting, and then this way there's no issue. The footprint of this house is about 5,200 square feet. So it's 1/4 of what was previously proposed. So I really do want to have the time to look at that previously approved plan that appears to be about 4 times what we're proposing, so that then I can look at what was previously approved and proposed by the commission. So it's fine. I'll withdraw, and
Great.
then we'll get
Well,
Danzer's report,
think
and
that's
then
the
I'll
better way to
get that
go.
supplemental. Yeah, I'm not I'm not an argumentative kind of guy. I think you guys know that. So I understand that. So it's easy enough. All right.
Okay, and do we have the environmental consultant's report? Is that submitted to town hall?
No, as I said, he just finished his field work yesterday because what happened was after the last meeting, because it's March, this is vernal pool examination season. So during the winter, they don't have the ability to review vernal pools because of the environmental conditions. So he had 2 to 3 weeks of vernal pool work. So he was only able to conduct the field work last week and yesterday. So
Okay.
that's why the report's not finalized. So it's not that we didn't get to him in a timely manner. It's the worst month for an environmental guy to have work lined up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so the application is withdrawn.
Yep, thank you.
We'll look forward to your resubmission at your leisure. Any information you could get to us before your submittal, so we could get it to our consultants, so we could get a price, and that we could tell your client what the price is, so that they could agree, because I think even though that's not in the ordinance, that's the right way to treat people, not just, hey, here's a $50,000 bill, thank you very much, so.
I just had one question. Paul, I know you said they didn't put in a dock, but certainly they're going to. Will these next plans include the plans around the dock?
No, they have no intention right now of doing a dock. So no, they won't.
Thank you.
But we have that application, we approved that.
It's already approved, yeah.
Right,
correct.
but
what Russ is,
we just wanted to have it on this plan.
yeah, I'm gonna show it. It may be
Okay.
expired though, so then I'll just note it as expired.
Okay.
Yeah,
If it
and
is, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Eversource or whoever they are these days, you need to get their permit done.
We have their permit, June of 2019, as I indicated
Correct,
earlier.
for the dock.
Correct. Yep, for all activities on their property. So that included the level area, the fire pit, and the dock. Yep.
Okay, great.
And I looked, that was submitted for the record as part of that application.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Next,
Okay, we're going to Painter Hill.
I'm kind of confused on this. I thought we approved the house. I guess we didn't because.
No, you didn't. No.
All right. So just so everybody's on the same page. The pump house is in a non-regulated area and therefore does not require a permit. The issue came up because of the amount of water being pumped. And I think I initially thought that's tied to the pump house, but obviously it's not. So the commission decided to wait to approve the house until John and anybody else on the commission, John, I mentioned John because he's a geologist, considered an expert, had time to review the report by BL companies, which myself, I've reviewed. And that was the only holdup on the house that I'm aware of. So with that, John, did you review BL company's report, and do you have any comments on whether it's sufficient or not?
Yeah, I reviewed the report and it looks fine to me, Russ. I'm satisfied with the report and the conclusions.
I did too, and I agree, John. I think they did a good job. It was more of a desktop kind of thing, but I think Mr. Haydock did a good job in convincing me that there's more than enough water to go around. It won't affect the streams, wetlands, or wells that are in the area. Of course, the radius of influence of any well is no more than 75 feet, and that's why septic systems have to be more than 75 feet from a well. Therefore, there's no way the wells that are already already pumping, could have any impact. But what changed my mind about this was that the applicant agreed to put his roof drainage into the tanks. And that's sustainability. That's sustainability all over the place. And so I like that idea. And that's it. That's my 2 cents. Anybody else?
Yeah, if I could just ask, in the letter from BL, it referenced in a couple different places where there were 4 10,000-gallon tanks, and I believe the plan shows 5 10,000-gallon tanks. Is it that one is dedicated to domestic use and the other is irrigation, or what's the difference?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. So the roof drains won't be going into the domestic tank, they'll only go into the tanks that are
Hope
used
not.
for irrigation?
That's correct. Scott,
I have a lot of bird poop in it.
Scott does not want to be sucking down the roof runoff.
Okay.
Or his
Any other
dogs.
questions?
I had a question. I'm sorry. Is it 5 10,000-gallon tanks? Is that what we're talking about?
Correct. One's for potable usage and the other for irrigation.
Okay, somehow I know we've talked about it and it was always 5 tanks, but then it was something less, because if it's 5 10,000-gallon tanks, then it's,
Aren't they a little less, Paul, like 48,000 total?
Even less than that. Each tank only holds 8,500 gallons. So it's about 42,500 gallons.
Okay.
I'd like to just say that I'm very happy that you incorporated the roof drainage into the tanks. I think it's great. I am, and Werner Pump Service is doing the.
Yeah, Alan. Yep.
So will they have it like the 4 tanks that are for irrigation? They'll be like at a half fill position?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And that's going to have a gate valve basically. Or not a gate valve,
Overflow.
Level valve with an overflow. So if there's a large rain event, we've designed it so it overflows to a rain garden behind the pump house. And that was the other thing when you guys requested this hydrogeology report initially, we had the pump house within the upland review area, and based on your commentary, Rob, and some others, we had relocated the pump house and all the tanks and all the activities, so it was outside of the upland review area as well.
That and your clients love oak trees. Let's
Correct. Yes, correct. Every tree. He does not discriminate. It's not just.
I'll look for a motion.
I move to approve this as a non-regulated activity.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next. Aren't there any other engineers in town, for crying out loud?
Yeah, where's Brian left tonight?
Well, he's here, thank God.
Okay, next one is Paul's still up, 13 Tunnel Road we're going to.
So just to clarify, both B and C were deemed non-regulated, just so we're clear, because there were two for Stone Ledge, just so I'm clear. Because one was the pump house, one was the house.
All right, Dymar commented on this application, if you want to bring that up, Julie.
Sure. I don't think, did you hear Paul's question?
Yeah, Paul had a question, Russ.
My question was, there were actually two agenda items as it related to Stone Ledge. One was for the house and one was for the pump house. So was that vote for both or just one of them?
Yeah, the pump house is non-regulated
Oh, okay, thank you.
and does not require a permit. The house required a permit, obviously, because of storm drainage and the water, and it was determined it too is non-regulated, but it has a permit.
Okay, thank you.
We require all houses to have a permit regardless.
Okay. So they're both approved, just so I'm clear.
Both approved.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If it's easier, I'll make a motion to approve the pump house as a non-regulated activity regarding Stone Ledge. Sam, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Now
guys.
we're all good. Yep.
Cool. All right.
Okay. All right, so now you are on Tunnel Road.
Yes.
You want me to make this semi-brief? Because you got
Yeah,
other
go
stuff on
ahead.
the agenda. For the record, Paul Samansky, professional engineer. So this is the Carter application on Tunnel Road. They're proposing a single-family home of slightly over 4,900 square feet in size, a barn,
What's
which is
the footprint, Paul?
4,900 square feet.
Oh,
a
that's
little
the
over.
footprint.
Yep.
Okay,
The
because it's what, 9,000 when you add floors to it?
If you add upper floors, yeah, I'm just talking with respect to impervious surface. Yep.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep, but that's the entire footprint and the porches.
And the barn,
The
Jim?
1,500 square feet, and the yoga studio is 350.
So total
Oh.
we have,
6,850 there around.
okay,
So this subject property's 136 acres in size. We're disturbing 2.3 acres, so we're disturbing about 1.7% of the site. From a upland review area perspective, the 200-foot upland review area perspective, we have 54 acres of upland review. We're disturbing about 1.4 acres, or about 2.6% of the entire upland review area. So Mr. Danzer walked to this site. He made specific recommendations, particularly looking at an alternative for the yoga studio of how that could be moved up gradient so that there would not be disturbance down gradient of the stone wall remains. So we will be revising that as part of our revisions. And similar to Levin, we'll follow the same process because I don't want there to be a delay tonight. So I'll withdraw this application, and similar to the other, we'll get you these plans shortly with the environmental report so that you can review them in advance of the next meeting.
Great. And you don't
All
have
right.
to wait for the meeting, Paul. It does help us to get it beforehand.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, as soon as Steve's done with it, we'll get him to you.
Hey,
Okay.
Hey,
Paul-
Paul, can I ask a question here? You know, I've been out there and, you know, there's a lot of ledge there. And I see where you dug a couple of test pits there, but the main part of the house there looks like it has a basement to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't any test pits in that area.
There's a test pit, there's a couple test pits right off the upper left corner of the house. I
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah,
those
yeah.
results are, but
Yeah, down
I'll get
towards-
those to you, John.
Yeah, well, I saw in your map there what the results were, but I'm talking about the other part of the house, the lower right-hand part
Oh
there.
yeah, we did. We did borings from a geotech perspective, so I'll get
Okay.
you depth to ledge on those. It just we didn't include it because we didn't think it was.
And just a note, I was out there actually today and yeah, where the pool is, there's standing water in that area. Still,
In the pool?
Where the area that you have the pool marked on the property?
Julie, could you move the thing up a little so we could see where the pool is?
Yeah, I was there yesterday. There's standing water off the east of the garden. East of the garden is where I saw standing water from the drainage swale off the road. But when I was there was no water in the pool.
Down towards down to the, it's off the map here.
Hold on, I've got too many controls overlapping. Let me get my little hand guy. Okay.
That's all right. That's all
I
right.
think it's off this map here, Julie, because it's further on down.
Okay, because can you see where the hand is right now? Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the,
it's off this map.
yeah, let
it's
me,
off the map. Paul, a couple things. Floodplain alluviums consider wetland soil. You should look into that. If there's floodplain alluvium, as you know.
Mhm.
Second, I'm sure you know, or your environmental consultant knows that this is marked as a natural diversity database site. It's the whole site is striped. And when that happens, you need to submit to DEP to find out what it is what endangered species is living there, so we can understand that impact. Deep right now is taking, it's crazy, but they're taking like 30 to 60 days to get you that information.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure if your environmental guy picked that up, but I did. And
Yeah, he
I
did.
know
He
that,
mentioned it
as you
specifically.
know, I know the system because we're always submitting permits and you have to have that done before you submit permits. And I just happened to notice that area is, of the whole thing is endangered species area. And we just need to know what it is so we can understand what potential impact. A lot of times in this area, it's the box turtle,
Yeah,
bats,
bald eagle too along there.
things that, okay, you know, as long as you're not, are you cutting down those huge 300-year-old oak trees?
No, no, it's some fruit trees, and then a small handful of trees for the driveway.
But those big
But
ones? you plant?
oh, the catalpas? Absolutely not. Those catalpas are, I think, some of the coolest trees I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're
Yeah.
not that that's a reason to deny. I was just wondering, because it'd be a shame.
Oh,
not
it
a
would.
wetland issue.
Everyone would beat me with the catalpa beans. I don't know if you know what they look like, but they're about 14 to 18 inches long. And when I was a kid, my dad's friend had a catalpa tree, and we used to beat each other with the beans. So that's one of the few trees I know right away what they are, because I remember as a kid.
That's funny.
Okay, so that's
Oh, I
all
just-
we have.
I
You're
just
gonna
had-
withdraw it and we'll see you again.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
just had
guys.
one, I just had
Oh,
one.
sorry,
question.
Kathy.
Oh, that's okay. So Paul, you mentioned about the yoga studio and adjusting it. Can you just be more clear? Will you be moving it outside the 200-foot buffer?
Based on our environmental consultant's recommendations, we will not be outside of the 200-foot buffer. He feels it can be.
But it won't be hanging over the rivers.
That's correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah,
Okay,
and he's giving specific
So they're
recommendations.
gonna move it
as
back, and next application, you'll see exactly where.
Yep.
okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for your time,
Paul.
everyone. Have a great evening, everyone.
So, thank you,
You
Spencer.
too, Paul.
Take care, Paul.
Okay, we've got a brand new one for you. 102
So
North
we're on the
Street.
new business?
We're on to new business, 102 North Street for a pool. And I don't believe anybody is here. Anybody here for this?
Okay, keep going up. Are they claiming it's non-regulated? Must be nice to fill in a pool and build another one.
I see why
Yeah.
John referred this to you. Yeah, they're filling in one and the other.
I just want to see where there's wetlands. Is there a map?
There is a map. Here's the map.
All right. Yikes, a lot of stuff on there. I see the pool. I see 65 feet from wetlands, where the existing pool looks like it's over the 100 feet. I can't, is the WF the wetlands? Anybody know?
That looks like the pool filter. the
Yeah,
Equipment. Intermittent stream is here.
oh, okay, that's the wetlands. All right, we need to go look at it. So we'll set up a site visit and go look at it, but let
Okay.
the applicant know or Dobson know. And if they want to be there, then they should contact me. Give them my cell,
Okay.
all right?
Okay. So now we're going to 106 Ruckham Road. And Brian is here for this.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
here.
Brian, thought you retired for crying out loud.
I'm trying to slowly.
You're not doing too good.
No, I know. So this is a proposed house for Dave and Laura Miller. It's
Denied.
on up on Ruckham Road. And this is the proposed plan for the site. There's a couple of
They
water
put in a
courses.
driveway, Brian?
There's a driveway that comes off of Ruckham Road, goes up the hill.
Right, I think they just did that, right, or improved?
Well, Dave started working on it, but he's actually, since then, he stopped working on the driveway.
Yeah,
That's outside of regulated area.
right, I think we
Um,
approved that as non-regulated.
Yeah, so we tried to work between the two water courses that go through the site. So you can see the 100-foot upland review area on both sides from the water courses. So we're able to kind of maneuver between those with the driveway. There's a pretty small amount of tree clearing proposed, pretty much just for the house site, driveway, septic area. So there's not a lot of disturbance proposed on the site. House is not a real big house. Living area is 1,862 square feet. So it's not anything that's overly large as far as a house goes. It's a good sized lot. We looked at the idea of maybe doing something more on the western side of the water course, but it's a lot smaller area to work with. Did some tests over there for soils, but the area proposed, I think, is the best spot for a house with limited disturbance of the areas on both sides.
Brian, where is this on Ruckham?
Right before.
It's not quite up to the town line.
Yeah,
Um,
like the last house, the
probably-
last driveway before the town line.
well, there's one more house that's closer to the town line.
So
More than
this is
500 feet away.
on the dirt portion?
No, it's on the paved portion.
Oh.
If you
Third
drive
of
up there, you would see the driveway cut on the left-hand side.
Oh, I did see that. Okay. Yeah, I did on my bike ride.
So
All right,
there
Brian,
is
we'll go look at it. I'll set up a team and we'll go take
Okay.
a look. I'll call Dave. I'll text Dave and see if he wants to tag along. Sure.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Okay, thanks.
So next,
Okay, so you can either go to the NOV report or Brian contacted us earlier about
so Brian sent a
We
letter,
have,
Rob, on
right.
that Holmes Road Pond.
on the homes,
meeting,
yes, the homes
that
road pond
you and I
permit.
looked at. What he's saying is you can't do it now. It's too wet. And the red-winged blackbirds aren't there in the fall, and that's the time to do it. So he's asking for a modification of the permit to do it during a dry time. If you all read this letter, I really don't have a problem with that modification. If anybody else does, fine, but
Excuse me, Russ, can we have a motion to add it to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to add 11 Holmes Road to the agenda.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in
Thank you.
favor? Aye.
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 Okay.
Yeah, just as a little bit of background information on this. I got a call from the contractor about doing the pond work, and actually was gonna do it in a couple weeks ago. But it's pretty wet in that pond area. There's a lot of water coming into the pond and going through. And I know the idea of kind of doing it in a more of a winter area is based on the red-winged blackbird population, which I have those in my front yard in my pond. I see them every year. And actually, I just saw them last week. They just showed up for the for spring. They're a migratory bird that doesn't stay all year. They're here during the summertime, and their nesting times are more earlier in the season. So from all the stuff that I've read about, from the Audubon Society and my own observations, it sounds like, by the end of August, their fledglings are all gone. They're out of the nests. So there wouldn't be any disturbance of their, reproduction and nesting if the job was done like maybe in September, which usually is a pretty good month in terms of dry conditions to do some pond work. So I talked to the owner and talked to the contractor about this, and they thought that it should be a pretty dry time, hopefully, in September during the end of summer.
You hope.
So it's just a request to change the permit to allow this to be done in September.
I have no issue. Does anybody else? No.
Nope, sounds good to me.
I'll make a motion to approve this modification.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Abstain.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Somebody's abstained.
I am. Rob is.
Okay.
Okay, I've got you. Okay, Rob abstained. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Next,
Next, we've got an NOV.
and John is away. I think
And-
he's somewhere sunny.
He is. So let me go up one more page.
Oh, Doug's on, right, Doug?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Doug Hawking is here.
Yeah, so Doug, you want to explain what's going on?
Sure. So there's the property, 6.5 acres on Ruckham. And I have a drawing, but I don't think I can share it for you guys. It's there's basically 3 parts of the property. The upper part is where the house is. There's a stone wall. There's a middle section, half of which was red or black spruces. The other half was meadow. The lower half towards the north goes down to the creek, and that's deciduous trees leading into the creek and wetlands. So the conifers, I suspect, and I also did some research, I suspect the woman that owned it before my parents owned the house planted a Christmas tree farm. And my tree guy, basically, when you looked at them now, they were dying of blight or a fungus. And so mistakenly, I went and took them down. So there's an area in terms of the map, and you can see it. And basically, the area is just shy of an acre of spruces, most of which were dead, but they're gone. And that's the sort of issue that we have now. And the
Okay.
adjacent area is basically right where the chips are. It's like right next to where the conifer, where the deciduous trees are, in that upper third part of the yard.
First of all, Doug, thank you for coming in and cooperating.
No
Makes it
problem.
easy on us. We're not here to beat anybody up, believe me.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes, and what we'll do is I'll contact you, and we'll just come out and look at it. And if there's things that could be done to make it better, we would. But if it's fine as it is, it probably would be best to leave it alone. sometimes I've seen commissions, not ours, but others, make people do things to punish them, and it just makes the whole situation worse, and that's not what we're about.
Right.
So,
No, I appreciate that.
Julie, you have his contact information?
I don't. John
J-
told you,
um,
but we
yeah,
have on the
John
letter.
does, and I sent John the image that has the survey over the aerial map with dimension.
All right, if you could just email Julie your number so I could text you, and then we could get together with a
Sounds
number.
good.
Okay, Doug?
Great.
Okay. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
That's okay.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, next you have your last, would you like to do a chairman's report?
I sent all of you this public hearing procedure thing. Rob said his mind kind of shrank reading it. It's very hard to read the whole thing. But I suggest everybody reads it. There's good information in there, but don't read it all at once. There's too much, gets very confusing. But it's good to just put it in your brain as to what the procedure should be, so that we don't make mistakes, that we go through the hard work of public hearings and stuff, and then get brought into court and it gets thrown out because we didn't do something that was right. It's very hard to be a wetland commissioner nowadays. There's so much you need to know, and when things go to court, we haven't had that experience. We've had it once, but not as a commission. They've made it too complicated, if you ask me. But we could get through it, and one of the things I've been doing is trying to find educational material to pass on to the commission so that you all could be better versed as the myriad of regulations that run wetlands. And the problem is, when you get into a court, they're so nitpicky. It's incredible. I mean, I've seen things thrown out for the stupidest administrative errors. So we just want to stay on track. A couple of the good things in this is question the experts. You don't have to take an expert's opinion as Bible. Go ahead and question them. But if you don't question them, and then you vote against an application, you're saying because you didn't believe the expert, that becomes a problem. Remember, don't have any what do they call it, Julie, when you talk out of meeting about an application? There's a Latin word.
Yeah, because it can be
Ex parte. You can't have any ex parte communications, but what you can have, you could email the staff with questions, or questions that you need me to answer. It can't go directly to me. It has to go to Julie, and then Julie will forward the information. The same way, when I get information, I don't send it directly to the commission. I sent it to Julie to send to you.
Mhm.
That's what the courts have ruled, and so we have to do that.
It-
If you do ask a question of the staff, don't copy anybody else on the email. If you're asking questions and including the commission, that's considered a meeting that hasn't been properly noticed.
Mhm.
We don't want to get trapped with this administrative crap.
So Russ, the communication between commission members is only regarding applications before us.
That's correct. You
Okay,
can
nothing-
communicate about applications passed, and you could communicate about wetlands generally.
Procedures, right.
Right. But when you have an active application, we cannot talk about it. We can't email about it. But you can ask staff questions, just don't copy the commission.
Don't copy the commission.
So Russ, how does that apply if there's two of us on a site walk?
Well, this thing has a good thing on sidewalks. When you do a sidewalk, you're not supposed to talk to each other.
Oh,
Supposed
Yeah,
to
I didn't get that far.
Pretend I'm your wife, John, and I'm really mad at you.
Yeah, and then I'm going in the other direction.
Right.
Yeah, and also, two is not a quorum. So that is
Oh.
also part of keeping
That's
site
right.
walks small.
That's right, if it's not a
Yeah.
quorum. But we're really supposed to ask questions on sidewalks at the meeting. Even to the applicant. You could ask the applicant, is the house going here? Is this where the stormwater is? But you can't ask them technical questions that they really should be answering in a public forum. All right? So as you read through that, if you have questions, send them to Julie and she'll get them to me and I'll get you answers.
So Russ, thank you so much for sharing the document, and for, your efforts in sharing educational content for me anyway. I'll speak for myself. I really am appreciative of that and of, your leadership and guidance. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And the best thing I could do is, I've been doing this 30 years, I guess, so I know a lot of this, but I forget how complicated it could be, especially to new people on a commission. And it only makes the commission stronger if we really know what's expected of us. And as you
And the
read through
refreshers
that,
are
what's
good.
expected of us comes through court cases. It's not in the reg. It's court cases set the precedent. And there is court cases on the DEP website. If you Google CT Deep, and then when you get to their search engine, just put in inland wetlands, it brings you to the inland wetlands homepage. And on the sidebar, there's legal decisions. And it talks about court decisions regarding wetlands. And I find that really helpful in guiding me on how I should be calling things.
Where is that again,
Don't be
Russ?
amazed at what people go to court over. It's insane.
Russ, where is that on the deep site?
If you put in their search, there's a search on the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
Put in inland wetlands, it brings you to a page and you just hit inland wetlands homepage.
Okay.
And that's the page where the training is and all
Right,
kinds of
right.
good information.
Yep.
They've upgraded it and it's a lot better than it ever was.
Okay.
What's next, Julie?
What's next? It's been deferred from the past few meetings, going over items 7 through 14 of the West Cog report. Are
All
you,
right, so we're on number what?
you would start with number 7.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I have 10 minutes till my next,
All right, well, we're just going through 7, 8, and 9. The first number 7, we're at the minimum. We're at the 5. There are towns with 9, 11. I don't know how they get anything done. But what they're recommending, 5 members, including 2 or 3 alternatives, we're better than that. Reduce the instability of wetland commission membership and improve institutional knowledge. I just did that. And people on this commission have been here for a long time. And I agree, we should go to 6 years for the terms, and I'm gonna bring that up at a Board of Selectmen meeting. Maybe you guys don't want that. You want 2-year terms. Do your 2 years and get out. Provide municipal incentives for volunteerism. Well, we get a free dump pass
Yeah.
for $25.
Yeah, and Rob told me once, and a whole bunch of friends.
Barbara always had volunteer recognition picnic that nobody went to, but I told her it's mostly because they talk too much. There's too many speeches. I don't know. That's a good one. Maybe I should bring it up to the board to have tax abatements like the fire department and the EMTs have. I don't know. What do they get, Julie? $1,000 off their tax a year?
It might be is it a little bit more, or am I not remembering it? Is it 1,200 now, or I could be
Yeah.
misremembering?
It is, but they actually have to do a lot of CE credits
Yeah.
to do that, and
right.
they put in a lot of
So,
hours at the
Gotta
firehouse.
show up, right?
As long as it's
There's a lot,
retroactive.
there's a lot involved.
Are
Not
the
just
EM,
coming to a meeting.
is the
or doing
EMTs,
a
are they
site
up to
work.
like, yeah, are EMTs up to like 24 hours a year now? Something like
Yeah,
that.
you have to do that. I just finished my continuing education. We had to do that. We have to go to the firehouse. We have work
Yeah.
days. You know, there's a lot
So
involved.
you work for it. It's not like they just give it to you.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
there's a lot involved.
Well, Rob had a good
You know, you
point.
have to be
Make it
certified.
retroactive.
All right, well, that's it for this term, Kathy. Thank you for this. We'll continue on next meeting, right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was good to squeeze those in.
All right, I'm glad you could get it to 8:30. Again, you're gonna be involved in potential public hearings, so you might have to do some homework if you have to step out.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Russ.
Otherwise, it's up to you. Just decide not to be a part of it, but that's up to you. I think it'd be good if you were, but we'll have to see what Sue's availability is. I know she's very busy as a pharmacist right now. It's been crazy for him, so. All right, anything else, Julie?
No, you can adjourn.
I'll
If you'd
make a
like.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right.
I'll
Night.
be in touch with some of you to do site walks. If you're interested, contact me. Okay? Thank you.
Night, everyone.
Good
Good night.
night.
Bye all.
Good night.